Warning, this podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. For my friends who are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Jayce Reads Romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, y'all. This is Jayce, she, they, and you found Jayce Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. And oh my God, is that a man? That is.
Oh, that's the best. Yes, please.
I legit got a little scared there. I didn't know what was happening.
Hi,
thought-
Mr. Man Friend.
I thought there was a man behind me. It was a whole thing. Hello, Jayce and Sister Sephi.
Hello.
I think that's what I'm going to call you when I'm on, Sister Sephi.
I sound like a
'cause-
nun. Dear God.
It
It immediately, do you know how many weirdly Catholic books I have read or attempted to read in the last year? Like, that is not okay with me. That is just so wrong.
Do you know, like, I love you, Brother Michael, but I'm just going to...
Oh, okay, that's fair. There you go.
Listeners.
Hearing it back, hearing it back ruins it. It ruins
weird.
it.
I kind of have a priest
It does.
kink, so Catholic...
Oh,
Oh my God. Can you read the weird Pam Godwin book and get back to me? Because I had to DNF that shit. Okay.
I will do my
But
best.
actually, thank you.
actually.
If you are new to Jayce Reads Romance, the wonderful deep voice that you are hearing might be new to you. It's not me. It's Michael, our patient editor. who
Very patient.
suffers. Hello. You think that let's go with the wrangler of our chaos.
That's a good title.
That's good. Yeah, and I will say, I guess
you.
I'm gonna change what I just said. There was one time that I suffered, but you came clean in one of the episodes where you recorded for 2 hours plus.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. That was a long episode for you to edit.
It was a long episode, and I don't know why. I was like, I'm just gonna take it easy. We're gonna
Easy breezy,
just
beautiful.
relying on the beat. No, we're not. We had shit to do. So had shit to do, got it done. But this is an episode that I've been wanting to have for a while, and it is the What I've Learned episode. But in order to understand where we are 1 year into Jayce Reads Romance, I wanted to have Michael on, especially because this would not have happened without him. And the lost baby bird that I was when I reached out to Michael. So for those of you who are new to Jayce Reads Romance, if this is your first episode, welcome. Jesus fucking Christ, you picked an interesting one to find me at.
Yeah.
This is going to be like half, like, what is that? What was that show that, like, Where Are You From? Where they introduce people from your past life. Oh, the Sesame Street did like a parody of it. Both of y'all.
I know which episode. No. I know what show you're talking about.
Thank you.
No idea.
Yeah, I know what show you're talking about. I can't remember the name to save my life.
I don't know the actual show. I just know the Sesame Street version.
I mean,
it's awesome.
I was just gonna say Maury Povich, but like that's technically correct, but not correct. It's a show
correct.
that brings people from your past. Literally, that's the words you used.
Yes, Maury Povich is oh God. Oh man. And we're old. So
We're old. We are.
So way back when, and this process took a while. So it wasn't instantaneous when I kind of birthed this idea for Jayce Reads Romance. And I knew from its inception that the thing that would be the most fun, B, the most honest, because just honest conversation can be happening, and C, ideally the most impactful thing that I could do with this would be to have a podcast. And at this moment of, well, how in the ever-loving shit am I gonna do this? My wonderful friend Michael, who I have known for years and who I knew had been podcasting and editing and doing this on his own, said, "Hi, I have created 3 Paws Productions where I produce podcasts." And probably that exact day you posted, I went, "Hey, Michael, I have this idea and I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And I would really love to hire you." It was maybe the most insane thing that Michael has ever experienced from me until that point. And if you don't know, I don't think we've shared this. Michael and I met at a bar. So the fact that this random Facebook message.
I was her bartender. That's the best type of relationship.
Oh my God,
yes.
it was the best bartender ever. And I just kind of word vomited this idea at him. I hadn't even really figured out exactly what I wanted it to be or figured out the words that I wanted to use to describe Jayce Reads Romance. But I knew that I wanted a podcast, and I, being a fairly self-aware person, like you, I have many flaws. Lacking self-awareness is not one of them. And I knew that there would be absolutely no way for me to handle this on my own. And so I said, "Hey, Michael, I have this idea. How can I ask and hire and connect with you to make this a reality?" And Michael took pity on me and was like, sure, young, sure, friend. Let me guide you in the ways of the podcast.
Obviously, since we listen here at Jayce, we know the energy and the drive that Jayce brings to any project or anything. So that's not taking a chance when someone comes to you with that. Like, yes, the idea was not fully thought out. I will, you're right, but we worked through it. We kept forming it. Like, it was what it was, right? Like, there was a lot of things we had to flesh out, but the thing that you came was somebody that was willing to try and want this idea to grow. And that's, I think that's why you're doing what you're doing right now, right? And you are getting feedback from going to cons and being able to connect with people at different levels or different I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is
in different spaces, new spaces.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're being able to connect to people that way. And that's one of the main biggest things you wanted when we started this as well. I remember that exact goal. So I think, more kudos to you. Yes, me, but you as well, because pat myself on the back, but more kudos to you.
Thank you.
So gracious.
No kudos to Sephi. She did nothing. She does nothing for this podcast.
I mean, I did delay the start of it by 4 months because I was in the hospital. So that's fair.
Yeah, this is going to be a really odd thing to say, but I'm very grateful for that because so one of the things, by the time that I found Michael and I knew I wanted a podcast, there were a couple other things that I went through. And this is probably going to be the most businessy conversation that I have. I've never explained this, but I kind of put it out into the universe. What am I going to do? How is this going to work? What do I want? What is the community? What is my mission statement? There were a lot of other things that I was doing outside of this podcast. And so when we finally sat down, when I finally said, okay, Michael, we've talked about this. I want this. I want to do it now. Now was 7 months out because there by the time I came back to Michael and we had kind of talked about what was it going to be like to do a podcast, I then said, great, amazing. I know that I have this person. I know that I have the support. I need to figure out what Jayce Reads Romance is. And that can be an entirely different podcast, quite honestly. But I took a lot of time to really hone in on what was my why for Jayce Reads Romance and what was going to be the driving force. What was the thing that I would tether to keep me focused and present and honest and on mission. So when I came back to Michael, probably maybe almost a year after that initial conversation of this is something that I want to do.
It was about a year. Yeah.
It was about a year.
Mhm.
I basically dropped in his lap. Here's a brand, here are colors, here's a mission, here's a mission statement, here's the language I want to use. This is what I've learned in the past year. Here's a more focused explanation of what I want this podcast to be, and let's make it happen. And that initial conversation with Michael really helped set me up for shit. If I want to do a podcast, I'm going to need more than just, I want to do a podcast, and gave me something to focus on over the next year while I really built the brand and the idea of what Jayce Reads Romance was going to be. And then I had to start putting into words what this meant in a way that other people could understand. And I don't think that there's anything that was less successful in the beginning and then super successful by the end. Michael knows exactly what I'm talking about, is the theme song. So
how many? We went through five. Five?
Yes.
Five.
Yeah,
We went through
five.
Yeah.
Diana Weishauer, like I mention her at the end of every single episode. That woman is a queen because she took direction from me that was like, I want it to feel like you're singing in the shower.
I was getting all
It
of this
was that.
secondhand because I think I was still in recovery while this was happening.
We got through some of it before you were in the hospital, and then like the real like finalizing of it was oh man,
Real close.
In the shit of your recovery.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to I'm like, I wanted to be like Sam Smith and this, but not that Sam Smith, this Sam Smith, but I also wanted to feel like this. And it was so interesting to me because when I came back to Michael, I was like, I've got this. I've got exactly what Jayce is because I did all the photos. I had the branding colors. I had my logo. Like we had all of this shit done.
She was
and
ready.
then I was ready. And then I had no ability to communicate the sound of Jayce because it isn't me. Like I didn't want it to be me. Number one, it's not me singing. It is Diana performed by her.
Yes.
But it was also one of those moments when I realized for an oral medium, you can't point at something and be like, this needs to be pinker, or I want my knee to bend this way. I'd been doing visual mediums or written word, and it was so, it challenged me in a way that I mean, I hope that you knew I was never frustrated with you or Diana. I was like, God damn it, how am I so bad at communicating my own wants and needs?
You also made that clear when you were communicating. You were like, I'm trying to communicate this. And then you would start some emails with like, don't hate me.
Yeah. It was such a good challenge for me because I need to be able to explain Jayce Reads Romance on every level. And here was a new one, and I was failing miserably at times, but I felt so supported in the y'all's journey with me. Like, I think I had explained enough about like how excited I was about this project that both you and Diana were like, we don't know where you're going, but we want to help you get there.
But we'll get that ride. We are on that ride.
We'll get it together. And I love our theme song. I love it so much.
Hilariously enough, she texted just the other day being like, that theme song is pretty amazing. So Diana did. So she got to re-listen to it again for the first time.
It is really just spectacular. And it was everything that I wanted in the end. It feels like the first big hurdle, like once we came together. And then of course Seffi's illness. But in those months we were it was the first time that I was asking people to be interviewed. It was I did some early, so listen to some of those early interviews. Y'all, my skills were not where they are now.
Hold on. Can we bring up the first thing that we recorded?
The first faux interview with Seffi that was awful. We literally scrapped it. We redid it.
It was bad.
In the episode that you all heard of me and Seffi, when we're like, oh my God, I never knew that before. Yes, I did, because I had interviewed her already and it was wrong. It was just like the wrong format and the wrong vibe.
Wait, I will say this. I always say to people, I say, we will always do one recording that is a freebie because you always have different expectations of what it's going to be. You have thoughts. You have feel like you just have these thoughts. Literally, Jayce did it, finished it, and was like, nope, I don't like it. It was so funny.
It was like the quintessential bad pancake, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, no, we've got the ingredients to make something awesome, but like this first attempt at flipping the pancake, it's on the floor.
That's the one especially that the puppers get. So
the puppers get.
I mean, I don't have one, so it's just gonna stay there.
It's gonna stay there
until I decide to pick it up, which will probably be like in an hour when my feelings are done being felt.
Fair.
And especially if you're listening to this and you were one of my first interviews, like especially Shayna and Courtney the first time, and Anita, those really meant so much to me because there was nothing for me to show you. There was nothing for me to prove. We recorded those before any of this went live, before the website was live, before the social media was live, before anything was live. And you heard me say, I have this idea and I want you to be part of it. And y'all did it. I'm like, just went, sure. And that was really special.
They brought authenticity, each one of them, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to them. They like brought themselves just to be themselves instead. And that was really
it was such a gift that you were vulnerable with me in the way that I wanted those conversations to happen, in the way that those conversations I think needed to happen. So we're now at this point where I have been forced to explain and search and kind of hone in on what it is that Jayce Reads Romance is going to be. And then, dear God Almighty, we had to make the damn thing.
20 minutes in, and now we're making it. That's the process, guys. I just want to let you know, 20 minutes is like a year or two in creation world.
Yeah. It's probably like a year and a half between that first panicked Facebook message and when it happened. And for those people who like have an idea and they just like do it right away, like that is amazing for you. And there is nothing wrong with that. I am clearly not that person. And I'm a little too neurotic, but I also fully understand where my skills lack. And there was no way on God's green earth that I was going to be able to figure out how the fuck to podcast. And I do remember like the first definitions episode was just me in a room, because I was like, I don't need Seffi for this. This doesn't need to be a conversation.
Yeah.
And then we listened to it and we were like, this is terrible. this is so boring.
I think when I sent it to you, didn't I say like, tell me your thoughts really after listening? Like, so I like really wanted to be like there. I have feelings, but I want to know what you think first. I said something. I can't remember.
It was probably something like really kind, like, hey, this is your first solo episode. How do you like? Is this what you were thinking about? Like,
yeah,
is this
that
what
sounds
you
very Michael.
envisioned?
Yeah, that sounds
is this
very
what you
Michael.
envisioned? And then I listened to it, and I was like, I sound like the Ferris Bueller teacher talking about sex. Like, Bueller, gender identity. Like, it was so flat. And at that point, Seffi and I had known each other for honestly just maybe 2 months. Because you were in because while you were tangentially aware of all the stuff in the planning, you had a bigger, more important job, not dying.
Not dying.
Like not dying. And if you don't know that, Seffi, go to Seffi's social media and find her. And like, she almost died. So I'm very glad that she didn't. I'm very glad you didn't.
Same.
But so that first terrible interview happened, and then maybe 1 or 2 of me interviewing other people,
which some of them I wasn't there for because we hadn't nailed down my work schedule. And because I work. So, like, if you are just finding out, I work overnights. I work a week on and a week off. So it's
if this is your first episode, you just got to buckle in, all right? Like, I don't like just make assumptions and go with it, okay?
For this, go back, listen to the forums episode number 1.
Yes.
Number 1, thank you.
And just realize the hole that these two have lovingly dug themselves into.
There's also a 2-part clit episode. So just like
it's a great episode. It's a great episode.
Such a good episode. Mm-hmm. It's so good. I'm very proud of those episodes.
Yeah.
But so that episode of the definitions was probably our 4th conversation ever.
Yeah. Ever.
Mm-hmm. So the chemistry that you have seen or hopefully you see between Seffi and me, like, it's real, and it's through this podcast.
Definitely.
It blossoms. It's so beautiful.
It is.
Also, caveat, we have never met in person.
Oh, no, never.
Nope.
Never.
No. It's going to be weird. That'll ruin the dynamic. You're never going to meet in person. I will keep you two apart forever.
No, she is coming with me to Smut Lovers next year.
I am going next year.
You should.
I want you to come. Yeah. I would like for you to be there.
I just spent all day with 2 teenage boys. Don't.
I'm so sorry.
You need to be there.
Like, there are these moments, especially with Jayce Reads Romance, when you have this idea and you're trying to conceptualize it and you're trying to put it into the world, and it lives in your head, and you just hope that people will get it. And there were some episodes that I had living in my head that I knew I wanted to do, and I hoped that they would turn out the way that I envisioned them. And the forearms episode, the 2 that I came to Michael with were forearms and clit, like, which is why I harp on them so much.
Yeah.
Not so much, but it was this thing that I noticed over that year of like research and building of Jayce Reads Romance. People talk about forearms so much. And it's not wrong, but I felt like they got so many more characters than other body parts for something that is not necessarily, a sex characteristic or like masculine or like not their facial hair, not their eyes, not their butts, like
it's not a stereotypical thing that people would generally associate with sexy or like sexy times.
And maybe it's because I am a homosexual. But like I disagree as it not being a stereotype, because in my world it is a huge stereotype when it comes to like sexy. Like men's forearms is very attractive in everyone. It's like a normal thing to be attracted to.
Apparently it is in the hetero world too.
It's odd. This is, my God, y'all are learning so much about me. I remember this human that I knew in college. They had, through absolutely no effort, zero effort, the like most defined veiny forearms.
Yes.
And that was something that it was a trait that they possessed. And it was cool also because most humans in their 18 to 22 can barely get any muscle definition whatsoever. Like your body isn't grown enough to do that.
Yeah.
So it kind of almost felt like that kid in 7th grade that somehow had a full beard, like, what an adult thing on not an adult person. Like, I know that full beards are a thing, but like, who has one? And it was one of those like, wow, I guess like muscly veiny forearms are a thing, but like no one has one except you, person. But so yeah, there was just this person, and I remember that, but the veiny forearms was such a rare trait on a human that it kind of went to the back of my mind of like, oh, that's great that you can have that, but no one really has that. Mm-hmm. So what? Like, I'm not going to look for that in other people.
But then you guys when you found it in like the first book? I mean, you talked about it before you even talked about your first book that you read on here together, but like that's then you started quoting it because you found a quote in there. I think it's so funny that it is part of the vernacular within romance novels. But you two, like, what was it? What on one of this most recent episodes, forearm episodes, you bring up there's one with nostrils. I mean, there are probably some people that like find that sexually like arousing and stuff like that, which is. It's like I mean, it's funny. We're not yucking anyone's yum. It's a silly goosey moment, but it's just so interesting to me what romance novels are willing to like take the risks to talk about in that sense. And forearms, yes, I keep bringing out these episodes because I think they're so funny, and the way that they describe these things are hilarious, and like it's great. I love it.
It's so funny. It's October 15th. I haven't been reading as much as I normally have. It's such a weird fucking month. But like, I've got quotes already. I don't even want to like say, like, Seffi, close your ears. Seffi, close your ears. Put your computer on mute, Michael. Like, this is a preview. But there's this one quote that a woman says to a man is, "Forearms are my ruin." Seffi, you can come back now. And like,
the alligator ripped it off completely.
Dumb. Like, it's so interesting to me because there's some things in romance that unless you're really looking at this general thing of romance and you're trying to be as open to the experience as I am, and it takes skill. Like, you read what you like, and then you get in a little hole, and then it's vampires or nothing, bitch. And so for me to really come out of my shell and in this process of Jayce Reads Romance and delve into the wider range of romance, I did not know that gray sweatpants were a thing. The ungodly amount of text messages that Seffi has received from me as like, hey, I need another human that might understand. Are gray sweatpants a thing?
The amount of things I've had to explain to Jayce.
This is, I like, again, I'm a homosexual, and other homosexuals that are listening to this know of the Gray Sweatpants website. That is just
wait. There's a website,
or there's like Guys in Sweatpants is what it's called, and they Gray Sweatpants.
I mean, I know about the Gray Sweatpants because of King.
There's a website called Guys in Sweatpants.
I didn't know about the website.
It's
wow.
It's a really hot website.
I'm putting it in the show notes.
Yep. Cool,
guys. Yeah, I'm like really fun. I'm really fun. It'd be really fun to date. It's great. Oh my gosh. But so I would love to hear from you both now that we've kind of established like what Jayce Reads Romance was at the beginning, what it kind of came to you with. What are the things that you've really felt have grown over this last year of Jayce Reads Romance? Like, what are the things that either we're better at, or what were like your favorite things to do over this past year? The ones that the episodes, the moments that hit you the hardest, that got you the most excited to be part of this thing?
I think twofold for me. I think you having guests that you weren't expecting yourself, I think that was the best when you took the risk to like, yeah, I don't know, I just asked and they said yes, they'd come on, like you took the risk to reach out and do that. And I think that is really telling of you, and I think that is really telling of the project as well, or Jayce as a whole, in terms of what you're standing for, which I think brings me to kind of the second one that I really think I love seeing overall in the growth from what you came to me with versus what is going on now. I will say is how you are connected in a more web-like pattern versus when you came to me, you thought very linearly and how things needed to be. But like, I think you see now of like, oh, this is just one vessel into going to cons and meeting people hand to hand, online, creating, experimenting with discourse, which we may have in the future. Who knows? We've experimented with it.
There technically is a Jayce Reads Romance Discord. It exists in the ether. Apparently, I set it up wrong, which is
we're learning, people. We're learning. We're growing.
This is why I could never have done this on my own.
But it's like it's taking the risk and like wanting to but at the core of it all, you're focusing on growing this community, because that was the core of what you wanted this podcast to be, is a community around romance novels, being able to speak about sex, being able to like open up and chat about that. And I think those are kind of my twofold things. Like I can't wait to get more people in here that surprise you, like just like either like a big popular name or like your favorite author to a book that you just read. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I just, your excitement for people is really cool. So
yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that because I see everything live as it happens, being the producer and in each episode. And so you have grown the most as a podcaster, as a host, as an interviewer, as a personality. Like, I've seen your confidence level go from way down here to way up here on like every aspect of everything. Again, like Michael said, asking people to come on and be like, oh, hey, you said yes. Awesome. Let's go. Just you're so ready to just roll with the punches. And it's really great to get to watch that every episode. I think my favorite thing about being with you on this journey for a year has been the deep conversations we have gotten to have with different people, with just you and I, about so many different, very important subjects. Regarding diversity, regarding sexuality and the freedom to speak about that sexuality, gender identity, whatever. I know there are some episodes, some interviews specifically where you have completely gone off on a tangent with the guest, and I've just let you go because it's an important conversation that y'all are having. It's not necessarily exactly what we were here for in the first place, but it's an important conversation and it needed to be heard. That's what I love so much about this podcast, is the fact that it is so open to so many different people and topics, and just having that freedom within this very safe space is a very great thing. And I think you've done a good job in cultivating that.
Woo.
Thank you. This wasn't really supposed to be like compliment me. It was like, I loved the moment when I laughed so hard I fell off my chair. That was what I was expecting. Y'all, you made it deep.
You came with us. We're deep.
I mean, we're deep. You know we're us deep. By this point. Right. I mean, come on.
Take two. My favorite part is when I get to edit and things go awry. No. Actually, I will say one thing that you've gotten worse at, but I think it's because you're getting better, is your break between things that you were just like, no, I'm going to do this again. Because they're feeling like we'll have hey, now I'm back on track now, everyone. And there's like no pause. And then there was one today that like you emotionally, so you go really into these words, and it's the last part of this quote for the Forearms episode. And then you just back off and you say it so sweetly within seconds. You're just like, no. And I'm editing it. I kept the clip, so don't worry. It will come back to haunt you. But like, I laughed so hard because like the train of thought was pure auditory into the microphone of like, I didn't need to go that hard into those words. This is where it belongs. And it was so fucking funny.
I know exactly the moment you're talking about.
I knew you would. It's like, because it's just 3 words. It's like, I want cookies or some. It's like so, or like presents. It's such a weird. Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah,
it's funny.
Get ready.
No recollection of
that's
what
okay.
This is.
I think that's why it's perfect, and that's why you're lovely.
I love the fact that in our last bloopers episode, there was literally like 30 minutes of laughter, just the two of us, like laughing.
You guys do laugh a lot.
Oh God! And here. I think there was quite literally an episode, I think in the last month or so that we recorded, where I said something and you almost fell out of the chair. I was like, yes, like literally, I was like, I think I killed you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
if it wasn't an enclosed chair, I probably would have been on the floor.
It is, and that's something, not that I didn't expect to have so much fun, but when I brought this idea to Michael, one of the first things that Michael said is, I can't be your producer. Like, you just can't have a man be your producer. And I think that is correct. That was 100% the right move. And thank God you two are, I'm about to say thank God you two are related, but that's a weird thing to say. But honestly,
that's fair.
Thank God, because you are a queer, kinky, poly human, and who better to have some of these like big, hard, awkward conversations than someone who has been on this journey. And that's like one of the beautiful things is Sephi and I come from such different backgrounds of experiences in our life and with romance and with sex and our own identities and the reckoning that we've had with them. Internally and also like externally, how we exist in the world, and to have someone for who has become a safe space of my own. Like, I can tell you stories about, the time. I can tell you, I can tell you stories. Some Some of them you hear. Some of them Michael edits out. Some of them we make sure to tell when the recording is not happening. Yes. Some of them happen in our messages. But the fact is that this has given me an opportunity to meet you and to build this like legitimate friendship with this human that started off with, hi, I'm going to talk about sex in front of you. And hopefully, like, I remember that first definitions episode where I was like, I don't even need you to respond. I just need to like have someone to talk to.
Yep.
And if you go back and listen to it, like, that's not at all what happened.
Nope.
Things that I am excited for us to do in the next year, I think I would love. So for those of you listening, Jayce Reads Romance, I want more of you on this podcast. At the end of each episode, we say, if you have a question or a story, I would love voice notes. I would love questions. I would love more things that y'all are reckoning with in your own lives, because I have my own questions, but I'm one person. And I also know that I'm the fucking weirdo. I am not I do not think the way most people think. I do not think about things that most people think. Is if for no other reason, you can know this by the fact that like TikTok and I had, do you know how many things Steffi has had to explain to me on TikTok?
Like, it's true. It's very true.
I love it.
Like, Steffi, I don't understand. What is this mask thing?
Yeah.
What is the chocolate muffin? Apparently I have cultivated an FYP that is just like book shit that I like, because none of that comes near me. Do you know how many people sent me Death Eater thirst trap videos in the last month, and not one of them has shown up on my own FYP? Not one.
Wow.
I know.
I did get a text, y'all, this week from Jayce that said, oh my gosh, a masked man cosplay showed up on my FYP.
It wasn't even a thirst trap one. It was like a funny one.
Hey,
it wasn't even a thirst trap.
It starts with one. You got to like it. If you comment, come on, it starts with one.
Even if you just watch the whole thing.
I mean, I did. I don't know what's going to happen. Y'all, my TikTok is so confused about me as a human, and I kind of like it. I like being a mystery.
Same. Mine goes from half naked man to puppies to Legos to nerdy shit.
Oh, yeah, the Legos.
And then back to half naked men. I don't get any half naked men. I don't get a lot of thirst traps on my TikTok. And I am sad.
Now I'm on a mission.
I'm sad because thirst traps are nice. Thirst traps are nice, but also I'm glad, because I feel like I don't know. Maybe this is like another thing. I've never been sent a dick pic. This is not an invitation. This is not an invitation. But like, I am a millennial woman who has never experienced that, and I think that like should tell you everything you need to know about what a fucking unicorn I am in this weird ass world. So, but I would love for in this last year, in these, I don't even know, 46 episodes that we've made. This episode, I think, is 46. And I hope what you've found and what you've felt. Hold on, I have to stop because my child is screaming or steaming.
Oh.
I thought it was actual human child for a second.
I see what you did there. It was good.
I appreciate it. So in this last year, what I hope y'all have felt is that this space is open, is safe, is ready, is here for you. And with the conversations that Steffi and I have been able to have, that Michael has lovingly edited, and I love the blooper episode because it also shows you just like how much fun we have when we're just around each other. But that y'all know you're welcome to it. We've had, how many readers have we interviewed? Just like
not nearly
6?
Enough. It hasn't been very many.
But like Nita, Kayla, Nat doesn't count. We did Haley. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember, like few others.
Actual Princess Rara.
Oh, Princess Rara.
But like Scarlet.
Oh, Scarlet, thank you. We're not forgetting you. Courtney twice.
Kristen.
Been on 3 times.
Kristen.
Like there have been so many.
Mel. And Steamy Lip Mel.
We did Jess Lee.
Katie.
Oh my gosh. Like all of these amazing readers who have found romance recently or many years ago, and that y'all are here and ready. And I think that there's something really beautiful about the fact that we can talk openly about like our love of romance novels and how they've affected us, because they have. Romance novels, whether you started reading a year ago, whether you started reading 20 years ago, they've had an effect on you in some way, shape, or form. And more personal stories about Jayce. I got a video sent to me from a person I knew in college, and the video was of a woman covering her Kindle. Oh, no, you can't see what's on it. It's something, smart and going to improve my soul, and definitely not vampires. And this friend sent it to me knowing that I read romance. And I've known them since college. I said, you have known me since before Kindles. You saw me with my books out, the covers that were clearly spicy, out loud and proud. And this friend said, I remember once asking you what you were reading, and you said something about choking, and I've never asked you what you've read ever since. And like, here's a friend now that we talk about romance to. Like 16 years ago, we were not talking romance together. Like, this person wasn't talking to me about it. They weren't reading it. I was definitely the odd person out reading these explicit books in public and being open about it. And
it was definitely stigmatized as a genre.
Definitely stigmatized, but that now 16 years later, we can have these conversations about the books that we're reading and the experiences we're having. And that I have no recollection of this conversation or what book she was talking about, because y'all, I read a lot of spicy books. I've read them for decades, but it stuck with this friend of mine as, maybe the first time she'd ever heard someone talking about explicit sex or reading a book about explicit sex. And I do wonder how that affected this friend of mine. I'm not going to have them on the podcast because that would be definitely weird. Like, tell me how my sexuality affected you in your life and your sexuality. And that's not my job. Like, that's not what I want to do. Hi. But
the next
it does. Ruth. It has. Fuck that. No. I like not having credentials.
Yeah.
But it that's something that I haven't thought about in 16 years, because I literally did not remember, but something that a friend of mine remembered from 16 years ago. And for the readers who are new and the readers who have been around for a while, your experience at every level is really exciting to me. And I love the ability to have these conversations with people who are different than I am, and who've sought out different romance than I do, and who like different things than I like, both, maybe in life, but also in reading. I remember the conversation with Nat, explain dark romance. I don't get it. And, I read The Sinner the last week, and Jesus fucking Christ, was that book dark, and I loved it. And I now question my sanity. So,
good books should do.
Yeah, I've loved getting to go on this journey with the people that I have connected with. And my hope is that this time next year, we've had double the amount of reader interviews, that we've been able to create an even deeper sense of community, and where people can come to for, yes, books that are similar to what they like, but also with confidence with the confidence to pick up a book that's different, that pushes them out of their romance comfort zone. Every romance will end with a happily ever after. They will know that it's safe, it's secure, but how they get from point A to point B is going to change you. And I think that that's really, really amazing. Someone was saying like, what's the appeal? Like, how do you have, isn't it the same story over and over? I'm like, well, yeah, but young man is told by old man that he has special powers and must save the world, therefore go on quest, dude, has been told 1,000 times in 1,000 ways. And yet we still eat that shit up. Patriarchy, is that the patriarchy talking? I don't know, maybe, probably. But
I was going to say, was that the Odyssey that you just described?
Kind of, sort of, maybe. It's Lord of the Rings. It's King Arthur. It's
I know,
most superhero origin stories.
Yeah,
and it's such a joy to expand my own knowledge of this genre with a critical lens. And sometimes I think that things that we enjoy, we can never look at critically, and that is so not true, because everything is evolving constantly. The book that's been published isn't evolving, but the next book the writer writes, or the next writer that gets picked up by trad or puts out an indie book, that's where the evolution's happening. And really stepping out to see the big picture of not just what's out there right now, but where are the people who are going to be making those waves looking to go, is incredible. So as we conclude this absolutely magical episode, and we mark really the year. So we started recording in earnest in October last year, so that we were prepared in November. We could have these test runs. We could figure out how long it took to edit. Was I even any good at this? Would I have to re-record these things after those initial ones? And I am so honored that y'all have stuck with me for a year. And I am so excited to see what comes next, because truly, from that first definitions episode that we released to where we are now, I think that what we've done is really exciting. We got to accomplish a lot of my goals, and there's now episodes of stuff for you to listen to. So if this is your first episode with us, go back. You have almost a year to catch up on. You can go through the evolution with us. You can see that first Forearms episode, I thought it was going to be a one and done. And then I kept reading and I kept finding great quotes. And now it is every month. Every month, Sephi and I talk about it. Every month I get to share what I've read with you all and with her. This has been such a joyful experience for me, and I hope that it is for those of you who listen. And get involved. Send me an email. Find me on social. It's just me. It's like me behind the screen. So if you're like, I don't want to hear a bot, there's no bot. It's just Jayce being my awkward self, apparently talking in the third person. And that's what you get. I love nothing more than an excited DM of like, hi, love your post. Can we be best friends? Amazing. Yes. Everything I've wanted.
Reach out now.
Do it.
As you're listening to this, just go to Instagram and do it right now.
Go to Instagram, go to TikTok. There's an email, there's a website, there's a phone number.
Rate and review this episode. We'll
like
hear
and subscribe.
We'll hear it and see it, and we'll respond that way.
Oh my gosh, legit. So real. Yes. This is the team behind Jayce Reads Romance. These are the people who are making it happen every single week. And oh God, I just was like, I just thought about it as like, we want to touch you and be touched by you, which is not Which is
it's a truly perfect Jayce way to end an episode.
Absolutely.
We just want to touch you and be touched by you. Yeah.
Yep. I don't think I can top that because I'm in a bottoming mood. And
samesies.
I don't want to know this about you, Michael.
Do you know how many things he's had to listen to you share with me?
It's kind of fair.
We'll talk about it at some point, but bottoming mood, but like energy level, not bottoming. Yeah, I'm so lazy. I'm so lazy. But I am in a bottoming mood. I am so lazy, though. Takes a lot. Takes a lot. Anyways, go on. Bring us home, Jayce.
Bring us home. So here's to everything that we've accomplished over this last year of Jayce Reads Romance. Almost here. I know, like, technically not a year, but you know what? Too bad. We're doing this now. We're doing it live.
#year.
#year. And here's to where we're going this next year, because y'all, this shit is gonna get crazy.
I'm excited.
We have some plans for you.
Yeah, stay here. Listen often.
And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today, y'all. This has been a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Our producer is Seffi. Michael Achenbach is our patient editor. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. You can find show notes and so much more at jaycereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow along on TikTok and Instagram at Jayce Reads Romance. If you'd like to ask a question or share a story for the podcast, call and leave a message at 661-JAYCE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Or send an email to jayce@jaycereadsromance.com. Finally, like and subscribe so you can get every episode when they drop. You can also leave us a review to help others find us. And remember, this is Jayce holding space for you.